What's good, Panther Nation? Welcome to Two Fans in the Stands. I'm CJ.
And I'm Tony.
And if you haven't heard, the Carolina Panthers have agreed to terms with Ejiro Evero to be their new defensive coordinator. He comes from Denver, where he was let out of his contract so he could pursue other options. So, Tony, let me know what you think about this hire.
I think it's an exciting hire, and here's why. He's a young coach. Um, he learned up under some great defensive-minded coaches: Vic Fangio, Dom Capers, Wade Phillips. So, in my mind, in my opinion, I think he has learned from some of the best in the game, some of the best to ever do it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the defense in Denver last year, they were okay. They were not. It wasn't like they were top 10
Mm-hmm.
defensively, but I think the excitement comes from one, in my opinion, him being a young coach, African American coach, and it
Yep.
was obviously something about him that had a lot of other teams interest, showing interest in
Mm-hmm.
him. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to what he's going to do. Now, what I do know, 9 times out of 10, he's going to employ that 3-4 defense. That's what he learned under. That's what they ran in Denver. If you think back
Mm-hmm.
to Vic Fangio, Wade Phillips, and Don Capers, that's what they were masters of. But they come from that 3-4 defensive alignment background. And I was also wondering, did Carolina roster already did Carolina already have on their roster players that would be more con, more conducive to the 3-4 as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the 4-3 that we ran last year? Because
Yeah.
in the past couple of years, let me say this: we do know when Phil Snow was the defense coordinator, he used to run a 3-3-5.
Yeah.
That's typically what they run. That's what a lot of college teams run, especially in the Big 12, to try to
Mm-hmm.
counter that spread offense.
Yeah.
Um, to me, there's not a big difference in the 3-4 as opposed to a 3-3. With a 3-4, you still always look like you're gonna have 4 to 5 rushers, and
Mm-hmm.
that's been my big thing in the NFL. You need to have 4 rushers getting after the quarterback each play,
Yeah.
especially when you take a team like Dallas that will go jumbo package on you. What you gonna do with that with 3 defensive linemen, especially if you don't have 3 elite defensive linemen? And right now, in my mind, the only elite defensive lineman that we have is Derek Brown. I'm talking about as far as
Yeah.
defensive tackles.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious to see what this 3-4 alignment is going to look like. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm excited. I'm excited for his opportunity that he had other options besides Carolina, and he chose
Yeah.
us.
And,
Because
and
from my understanding, yeah. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, and he actually interviewed for the head coach position too. So
Right, right,
that's kind of
and
interesting.
yeah. So they obviously thought enough about him in those interview process that they wanted to bring him back. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
And he also interviewed with Minnesota. Minnesota was zero in on him, and
Hmm.
because of his previous relationship working with Kevin O'Donnell when they were both with the Rams.
Yeah.
But he said, "No, I'm gonna go to Carolina." Carolina, and when you think about it, when you look at Carolina defense as opposed to the Vikings defense last year,
Hmm.
who do you think he had more to work with? you know, I think the pieces that he would need for this 3-4 defense, I think more of the pieces were available to him in Carolina than they would
Mm-hmm.
have been in Minnesota. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion, my take on it. So, but what do you think about the hire?
I like it because if I'm not mistaken, he said that he will work with the personnel. He's gonna mold his scheme to the personnel that we currently have and what they decide to pick up in free agency and the draft. Because if you look at our roster now, Gross Matos will probably have the size that you want at that other defensive end spot, but it's Gross Matos. And again, no disrespect to him, but like they say, numbers don't lie. Um, and I'm just thinking about the guys that are on the roster right now. If
Right.
Ionitis is brought back, and you still have Derek Brown, but what about what about our boy Big Snacks McCall playing nose tackle?
I
You
like that
know,
idea. No,
he definitely got the size.
I like the idea, and he has quick feet. I just want
Hmm.
to see him get stronger. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
agree. Hmm.
Especially playing that nose tackle position in the 3-4 defense, you're gonna get some double teams. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
you may get a lot of double teams, and it's also
Hmm.
important why we need downhill linebackers.
Yeah.
You know, Shaq Thompson, love you, Shaq, but I don't see him as a downhill linebacker, someone that can take on blocks from these offensive guards and
Mm,
the centers pulling out and things like that. So
yeah.
I just I would like to see him be more aggressive,
Mm,
in that part of his game if he can. But
yeah.
that's a whole nother topic for a different day because me personally, I don't think he'll be back in Carolina next year strictly for salary cap reasons. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm excited. I'm just excited about this 3-4 defense. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. I was just gonna say that I don't know. I think they might surprise you. I think Shaq will be back. And I'm gonna
Did,
stick. I'm gonna be the. I'm gonna just go opposite of you on this. I think he'll be back. I think they're gonna figure out a way. I'm
okay.
personally I like for him to come back. It might be interesting what he could do, given because is he going to run a strictly conventional 3-4 scheme? Because they said in Denver, hell, he had up to 6 defensive backs on the field at one time. So
Well, yeah. What that basically that's your 3-4 defense is basically your nose tackle,
mm-hmm,
2 tackles, your
mm-hmm,
4 linebackers, but your 4 linebackers are like a hybrid. With your 2 outside linebackers is like a hybrid defensive end type of thing. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So when you look at that,
Brian Burns,
that's right. Right. Brian Burns, probably Frankie Louvu, maybe,
mm-hmm,
or Marquise Haynes. That's another way
yeah,
for him to get
Marquise
on the
Haynes will
field.
fit in that, yeah,
Right.
uh-huh,
So I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's different things that you can do within that 3-4 defense. Um, I'll say this because you threw it back at me, so I'm gonna throw this back at you and give you some
uh-huh,
time to think about it. Because Shaq is on his last year of his contract,
mm-hmm,
it can't be restructured,
yeah,
and he's already made it known or let it be known a little bit on Twitter
mm-hmm,
that he ain't really into giving a discount.
yeah,
So do with that as you will. Now
mm-hmm,
if you're not willing to take a discount to help your hometown team, the team that drafted you, and your
yeah,
production don't match the numbers that you are currently being paid at,
yeah,
something has to give. So
yeah. Something does have to give, but like I always say, you never know. They may be able to work some magic. And if it goes like you said, and he's not willing to give any kind of a discount or do anything to help us out, they may be able to work something out to keep it for a year. So that, like you said, that's another subject for another time. But that'll definitely be interesting to see. But I think that them going forward, I think it would be in their best interest to try and keep Shaq at least around for another year, because we already have so many, so many spots that we need to fill on the defense, especially in the backfield. And then
Right.
you having to add another linebacker. We got it in with this new scheme that potentially will be put in. We're going to have to rearrange some pieces on the defensive line. So, you know, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
but
see.
we'll see. But I'm definitely excited about Coach Evero. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could have kept Steve Wilkes. I wish that Steve Wilkes would have been the head coach. That's number
Yeah.
one. But he's not. Frank Wright is here. It's a whole new regime, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see another young Black African American get his shot or continue to
Yeah.
get his shot. And you know, we'll see. We'll see.
And I
Only time will tell.
and I think he started off his career as a defensive backs coach. So now I know there'll be somebody, in that spot, but it will be interesting to see how he can mold and shape our backfield. And either with the pieces that we have now, or who they may bring in free agency, and who we decide to draft, come April. So,
Yeah, he's basically doing the same thing that Steve Wilkes did when he was defense coordinator. He's a
mhm,
defensive backs coach. He's going to be the defense coordinator, but also coach the safeties and the DBs.
yeah,
So the only difference is one ran a 4-3, the other one's going to run a
mhm,
3-4. And
yeah,
from what I've read thus far, Coach Evero is a little bit more aggressive and likes to blitz a lot more than
yeah.
what Steve
He's a
Wilkes
lot more
did.
aggressive. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah, he's a lot more.
but with that aggression comes discipline. You got to have discipline to be able to pull off a lot of those stunts and a lot of those blitzes. So
Hmm.
you know, the players are going to have to be more disciplined and detail oriented when it comes to their assignments. But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for him to get here and get things in place and get
Hmm.
started and see what the project going to look like come the preseason.
And that's going to be the key. What you said, discipline,
Yeah.
because that was an undisciplined group on defense last year, and it showed at the wrong time in the wrong games, like this past season. So I
Yes.
don't know what he would have to do to get that group in check, but he's got a task on his hand. Now Carolina has I keep hearing, that Carolina's defense is so great, and I'm not saying we were a bad defense, but I don't think that we are to the level that everybody is putting us at, especially now that we've hired him. I think he
Right.
he really does have a challenge on his hands, because sometimes I wonder, what games some of these people were watching. You get what I'm saying? I'm not knocking the defense, because I think they have come a long way from last year to this past the previous year to this past season. I think they
Right.
came a long way, but they still have a tall hill to climb to get. I think Frank Wright said, top 10 defenses get you into the playoffs. Top 5 defenses win you Super Bowls.
Championships. Yeah.
Yeah. We
Hmm.
we we got I think we got a ways to go to get to both of those. So Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish him all. I wish him the best of luck, but he definitely got a task on his hands. So
Keep
we'll
hope
see how it
alive,
plays
right?
out. Oh yeah, I'm always gonna keep hope alive. Oh yes, indeed.
Yeah,
I'm praying for the brother. I'm praying for him hard. So
yeah.
we'll see.
Well,
Yeah,
Coach
yeah.
Evero, we want to say welcome. Thank you for choosing the Carolina Panthers. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
choosing to be our next defense coordinator, and we expect great things out of you. And hey, welcome.
Hey, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.